All right, guys. So the Marathon Server Slam test just came out, depending on when I upload this, just a few days ago. And what I want to do with this video is give my honest thoughts and impressions on it so far. Now, this perspective is coming from someone who played in the very first alpha, but never played any play tests leading up to the Server Slam. So as I'm going through like my pros and my cons and just basically my overall thoughts on the Server Slam so far, just keep that in mind that this is from the perspective of someone who played the very first alpha and hasn't played anything until the Server Slam. In the background, I'm just gonna have some gameplay that I recorded. It's actually pretty cool. I clutched up pretty hard, so definitely watch the gameplay because I think you might enjoy it. But to basically get into my thoughts and my impressions on the Server Slam so far, I want to start with like the pros. And this is gonna be kind of a low-key video. All I did really is just jotted down everything I was liking and everything I wasn't liking with the Server Slam so far. But the first thing I'm loving is the gunplay. This is something I stated in my alpha video I made a while back, that the gunplay was just immaculate. Like, if you're coming from Destiny, which I am, I'm a long-time Destiny, I would be considered a veteran. I've been playing since D1 beta, so coming from Destiny, like, and getting on Marathon, like, the guns felt very similar to the way Destiny gunplay feels, which in my opinion is a good thing, because I still, to this day, feel like Destiny 2 has arguably the best gunplay in any first-person shooter. And from the very first alpha I played, they've even improved it. The gunplay feels even smoother and snappier, so gunplay, fantastic. The runners feel extremely good. They're all really well balanced. There's not any clear outliers, I feel like, that are just head and shoulders above every other runner that most teams are running. Throughout my time playing during this Server Slam, which I got about 12-13 hours in so far, I run into a wide variety of runners. There's not one runner I run into, I would say the most, maybe Triage, but I think that's because he's the new character that no one's really played with yet. But there's not a single runner that is just overtly broken. There's not a single runner that is in need of a serious buff. So I really think they did a really good job balancing all the runners, and positive of that is it adds a lot of player choice and freedom because you're not shackled to a singular meta. Another thing that they drastically improved since the alpha is the movement. The movement feels so much better than it did in the alpha. The alpha, like, one of my biggest gripes was it felt so clunky, especially for a Bungie game, which usually Bungie games are very smooth feeling. The alpha felt so clunky. And while I do think Marathon today during the Server Slam is still maybe a bit clunky as compared to maybe some other titles in the FPS genre, it is so much smoother. It's night and day difference on how smooth the game feels now from the first alpha. I hope that's something they continue to update on because I think it can be a little bit smoother, but so far the movement is miles better than it used to be. Now this one might get me in trouble. The art style is, I understand, very, very polarizing. I like it. I really like the art style. It's that blend of Blade Runner and cyberpunk and a sci-fi alien universe and cybernetic robot. Like, it just looks cool. Like, I understand people maybe don't like how boxy and blocky it is, but I genuinely really like the art style of Marathon. I'm really happy it's not just a generic, realistic looking game like so many other games are trying to be right now. It has a very unique, very distinctual look to the game that you'll be able to tell what the game is at any glance. You know, you could take a screenshot from a lot of modern day games like Arc Raiders, Call of Duty, Delta Force, and other titles that are in that similar genre. And if you zoom in and it's just a landscape and you matched all of these games together, you would think it was the same game. And that's my problem I have with a lot of modern games. And it's not necessarily because I don't like that look. I think, and still do think, Arc Raiders and all those other games look visually stunning. I've always thought that. But for me, in my taste, I really like that sci-fi look, and this game really delivers on it. And if this game is just, if it's just not your style, if you just do not like the way it looks, that's completely fine. You are completely validated in that opinion, and I don't blame you for having that thought because it is a very striking art style. But for me personally, and for my own taste, I really like the way it looks. Another thing I wrote down was the lore and the factions. The lore of this game, I don't know if you guys have watched any lore videos, but I highly recommend just typing in Marathon lore videos. The lore of this game is so cool. It is like, it makes me really, really want there to be a campaign mode or a mode where it's not just an extraction and it's more story driven because the narrative is that cool and the lore is that cool, and the factions really play into that. Like if you've played during the server test and you've been upgrading your factions and you get those lore drops and those factions are talking to you, you're understanding how each faction is, like it just adds so much character to this game, and that's something I really do like. And to add to that too, the music is still impeccable. If there's anything Bungie does, and Bungie does well, is they are always going to kill it when it comes to the music. Like the music of Halo, immaculate. The music of Destiny might be even better. The music of Marathon is, I wouldn't put it on the same level as maybe of a Destiny and a Halo, but the music of Marathon is really, really cool, man. It's really solid. So the music, they've always knocked it out of the park, and Marathon is no slouch in that department. Another thing I'm loving with Marathon, and is something I really wish they would add to Destiny, is the dedicated servers, and the server tick rate is insane. Like the tick rate is at, I think, 60. I've never played a online multiplayer game with 60 tick rate. Like this game, I haven't had any desync issues. I haven't had any times where I thought my bullets were landing but they weren't actually counting. Like the game feels snappy, feels very responsive, which is, I think, really important when you're playing an extraction shooter where everything's on the line. You die, you lose all your stuff, you need your bullets to be hitting. And because they invested so much into the servers of this game, it's really paying dividends. Something that they had in the alpha that I vehemently disagreed with their choice on, and I really hated, and I voiced that very clearly in my previous thoughts and impressions video on this game, was in the alpha, if you had a mod attached to a gun or you equipped a mod to a gun, you could not take it off. And if you didn't want the mod, well, too bad, you couldn't take it off. That mod was stuck to that gun. That's something they reverted. You can now pull mods off, switch them, swap them to other guns. So happy they made that change. It was something they didn't really ever talk about, to my knowledge, leading up to this Server Slam, and when they were showcasing all the changes they made, I never really saw them mention anything about that. So the fact that it's here and the fact that they've made that change and they were listening to the feedback is massive, in my opinion. And again, another thing they had from the alpha, which kind of sucked, was the pinging system. The ping system in the alpha was just terrible. The only way you could ping something was if you opened your mini map, and when you were running around, you couldn't just look at it with your crosshairs and agree with whatever your teammate pinged, or you couldn't, like, if you pinged something you didn't mean to ping it, you couldn't just look at it and then cancel the ping. You had to go into your mini map and then cancel it that way. Like, the ping system was terrible in the alpha. And while I do think the ping system in this game could be a lot better, like for example, like if my teammate pings something and they're like, hey, you might want to grab this. If I look at it, it's just like a empty square. Like it doesn't tell me what it is at all unless I read what the ping was. So even though the ping system is a lot better now, and I will give them credit for that, it can be a lot better. And I think that's something they need to continue to update. And then the last thing I wrote down that I really, really enjoy about Marathon is the fact that you can revive fully dead players. So even if your team is down, you're the last one surviving, they finish your players. If you are able to maybe clutch a 1v3 or wait the enemy team out, you can go back, res your players. They can maybe get some minor stuff, get some last minute stuff. You guys can get out and they still don't lose everything like they would. I think that is something that even ARC Raiders might want to look at and copy, because it adds so much to the players that maybe they died in a kind of bullshit way where they were looting something, they got sniped in the back, they didn't see the players creeped up on them. Well, instead of them being fully punished, now they get to watch their team see if they can clutch and bring them back to life. It's the same problem I had with like older BRs back in the day. Is older BRs, if you die, you're dead. You're just watching your team play and you're just on your phone waiting until they die or until they win, which is something I've never fully liked. I think you shouldn't be that severely punished for dying. Like if you die, chances are you're gonna get looted. Chances are you're gonna lose a lot of stuff you had on you, and just because you die doesn't mean you're completely done. I think there should always be a second chance, and that's something I really like that Marathon does that I think a lot of other games and especially other extractions like ARC could copy. But that's all the pros I wrote down. And just to reiterate, coming from the very first alpha, this game looks and feels immensely better. Like they really were in their bag when they were working on this. Like they listened to a lot of community feedback, they changed a lot of visuals, they made everything look, feel just better. And I think it's important to give them credit for what they did and all the hard work they put in, because this game is immensely better than it was. But that's not to say it's not without its problems. And I wrote down quite a bit more cons than I did pros. And before I get into my cons, I really still do like this game. I'm going to continue to play it. I want to continue to make content on it, but there is some things they need to fix. They need to address it. They need to fix it. And I feel like I'm a broken record saying this about a Bungie game, because this is how Bungie operates. They release a game, it's maybe not fully polished, it's got some things it's missing, and then they work on it, and then they fix the game. We're not going to get into what they do after they fix the game. I'm looking at you, Destiny 2, right now, but that's kind of Bungie's MO. And so if you're someone who's maybe on the fence, maybe you like the game, or you're just like, I don't know how I feel about it, it's maybe not as polished as I'd like it to be, give it time. They're going to continue to update things. They're going to continue to fix things. But with that said, let's get into my cons. I just jotted these down. And my first con is just the lack of prox chat. I know that there was some issues going on Bungie's end where prox chat just was not seeming to work at all. But even if it was working, I've seen a lot of people who have heard people in game saying that people just don't talk. Now, I think that a large number of the people playing Marathon right now are from the Destiny community. And if you're a part of that Destiny community, LFGs, when they join your raid team, they join your fire team, they don't talk for shit. They never open their freaking mouth, dude. And that could be what's going on. And maybe when the game fully releases, we'll have a lot more prox chat going on. But the fact that they were showcasing prox chat, like Peanut played with Ziegler, and Ziegler was like wanting to just talk in prox chat to show it off, and then the Server Slam comes out and you have an issue where prox chat's just not working at all. Like, I can't even hear my own teammates in game, let alone prox chat. And I've tinkered with all my settings. Everything should be working, and it's just not. That's not okay. That is not okay. You got to address that. And granted, I know they've tweeted showcasing a lot of stuff that people are having issues on, and I think prox chat was one of those things. But prox chat is one of those things that can take a game that maybe is just okay and make it great. You have to get that right. You have to get that right. And so I was excited to see how prox chat worked in Marathon, because when I was watching Peanut stream with Ziegler, it looked like it was muted. It wasn't that clear. It was kind of hard to understand and hear people, and that could have just been Peanut's settings. But I really wanted to hear what it was like for myself to formulate an opinion on it, if they need to update prox chat and make it better, because from what I heard in the stream he did, it was not good at all. And the fact that I can't even test it myself is really bad. That is something that should not be the case. My next con is the lack of loot. Like, it's insane. Like, it is damn near impossible to find ammo, shields, health. I feel like ammo is something that should just be across the board, very easy to come by. Basic shield, basic health should be way more common than it is. I understand maybe shields being a little hard to find. I get that, especially your higher end shields, but most of my green, I find it hard to find green shields. Most of my green shields I get from upgrading my factions, not from looting the game. I got a blue shield now, and I only got that blue shield because I killed someone that had it, not because I found one. I've yet to find a blue shield yet in this game. I was playing with some buddies and he found a purple shield, which I thought was insane. Like, he needs to go hit the lottery. Tables are hot right now. But shield is just way too uncommon. I feel like green shield needs to be at least a little bit more common, and blue shield needs to be slightly rare. And the reason I feel like shield in particular needs to be a lot more common just in general is because my next con is the time to kill is a little quick. From the alpha, and granted the alpha was a hot minute ago, so I might be wrong in this, but the time to kill in the Server Slam feels a lot quicker than it did in the alpha. Maybe not a lot quicker, but it definitely feels quicker than it did in the alpha. And that is something that I've noticed as when I had a blue shield, was the time to kill in gunfights felt a lot better. They felt more natural. And I don't know if that's a shield problem, if that's like a damage profile problem. I don't know if you just need to buff the base health of every runner just a bit, but the time to kill is a little too quick. And I feel like if you don't want to adjust the damage profiles, if you don't want to adjust the base health, you need to make shields more common, because when I had a blue shield, everything felt better. Everything felt better. And I'm guessing that's going to be even better when you get your purple and even your gold shields. But I think at a minimum, you need to have green shields be a lot more common than they currently are. Next one is, I think the main one a lot of the Marathon community and people trying the game out is having. The UI is not that great. It could be a lot better than it is. Now, I'm someone that plays a lot of Bungie games. I'm someone that has played Destiny for a long time. And I feel like if you're someone like that who's played Destiny, you're maybe watching this video, you play Destiny a lot, you understand how Bungie likes to do their UI and menus. So for me coming to Marathon, even though the UI, yeah, it's cluttered, yeah, it's a lot of menus, yeah, it can kind of be confusing at times, because I'm so used to Destiny, I got the hang of it pretty quick. And I'm not trying to brag at all, because I understand that people are genuinely having problems with understanding the UI, but that's just because I'm used to how Bungie does this stuff. If I was not used to how Bungie did stuff and I was coming to Marathon or even Destiny for the first time, yeah, I would be really overwhelmed. And the Destiny community, majority of the Destiny community, I would say, hates this fucking game. They hate this game. They want this game to fail, which, by the way, would be terrible, because if this game fails, Destiny 3 is probably never happening. But they hate this game because all they see is this game took away from what could have been in Destiny 2. And if you're making a game that only your hardcore Destiny players are going to be able to like fully grasp and get the hang of quickly, you need to pivot. This game needs to cater more to the casual audience. And I'm not even saying get rid of the whole competitiveness and the more brutality that is Marathon as compared to its competitor Arc Raiders. I'm not saying that, but you need to make this game as approachable as humanly possible, because first impressions are everything nowadays. If you don't leave a good first impression off rip, people are going to write your game off immediately. And I don't even think that's a fault of the player. I think there's just so many good games right now that if you don't grip the balls of someone right off rip, they're not going to stick around. They're going to go play another game that they like more. They're going to go play something else, and they're going to completely forget about your game. So if people are finding it so hard to navigate the menu of your game, which should be the most easy part to understand in this game, you got a problem. And it's a problem you got to address. The next issue I was kind of having was, even though this game has dedicated servers and a really high server tick rate, there was some instability issues where I'd be running, I'd be in a house, and then I'd just get teleported back to where I was. Granted, it's only happened a few times to me. I know it's happened a lot more to other players, and the other players are getting disconnected. I haven't had that issue yet. My game's crashed a few times, and I've had that teleporting issue. But that's kind of the extent to what I've had. But that's something that they need to address, because in a game like this, if you disconnect and you lose all your stuff, that is terrible. And they probably should implement a system where if you disconnect and it's on Bungie's fault, it's their servers that messed up, they should implement a system where you get all your stuff back. Another thing that I don't like that they don't have, and I've never really seen them talk about it, is a lack of a duos mode. You know, sometimes you're not able to get a full trio of friends to join. You know, you don't always have two friends that can line up their schedules with yours and be able to get on the game at the same time. And in my particular case, I usually have at least one friend that I can play with that their schedule lines up pretty well with mine. And we really just don't like playing with randoms. So for me, I would love to have just a duos only mode. You know, they added a solo mode, so they are open to adding more modes. I haven't really seen anyone ask for a duos mode. I haven't seen Bungie indicate that they're going to add one. And believe me, I know trios is the like golden standard for this stuff, and duos, for whatever reason, is always the worst mode in anything like extraction, battle royale, whatever. Duos, for whatever reason, is the worst. So I understand what I'm saying with this. It's just something I would still like to see happen though. Now, I wrote this next con down because it's not in the server slam test right now, and to my knowledge, I can't remember if they've really said they added it. It's going to be available for the full release, but there's no firing range right now. And if I'm being honest, a firing range isn't make or break for me. It's really not. It's something I would love to have, but it's not make or break for me. I wrote it down because, you know, I was just in the mode of what problems do I have with this game? What would I like to see fixed? What would I like to see added? A firing range is something I would love to see added, but again, it's not make or break for me if they don't have one, but I know it is for a lot of people. So I definitely think they need to either add it or address if it's going to be there for the full release. Another problem that I had in the alpha that still persists to this day is multiple players can loot the same thing at the same time. That drives me insane, especially when you have upgrades where you can decrypt loot even faster, which basically means, hey, I killed this person. They have a lot of cool stuff, a lot of good stuff I want to get. I'm going to go loot them. Oh, look at that. My teammate who didn't help me at all in this gunfight comes in, has a higher loot speed than I do, and is just stealing everything. Like, Arc Raiders, they got it right. They got it right. If you're looting something, your teammate can't loot it until you're finished. And it's a perfect system because if you're that dedicated to loot something and risk possibly getting shot just to have first dibs, congratulations. You get to have first dibs. And I really very strongly think they need to really look at that, because there's nothing more infuriating when I clutch up for the team, or maybe I downed a whole team by myself, because there's been multiple times during this playtest where I've 1v3'd an entire team, and because there's 3 duffel bags, I can't loot all of them myself. My teammates come in, they start looting. That's fine, right? That's fine. There's 3 duffel bags. I can't loot all 3 at one time. But the problem I have is if I'm looting one and instead of my teammates going to the other players, they come to mine, start looting it. Then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this person. Then they follow me, start looting it. That just sucks. It sucks so much, and they need to fix that. I'm sorry. They need to address that, where if you start looting something, no one else can loot it. Non-negotiable. It pisses me off. And to round out my final thoughts on the cons is going to be mainly focused around loot and vault space. Vault space needs to be increased. I'm sorry. Like, I know you can upgrade it with Cyber Acme, but my goodness, dude, I'm running out of vault space too quickly, and I'm not upgrading Cyber Acme fast enough to the point where I can keep up with my vault growing. And it's really annoying because a lot of the times I'm like, I want to bring a better backpack in with my extractions. I want to go after players. I want to go after events and get all the best stuff I can. But there's times where I'm like, I feel discouraged to do so because I know I don't have enough room in my vault. And don't get me wrong, I don't think they should get rid of the vault upgrades. Keep that. Keep it. I think that's a good system. Upgrade it. Keep it. But the base vault needs to be increased by a lot. It needs to be increased by a lot because the base vault is genuinely terrible. Like, you will run out of space so damn quick. And the reason you run out of space, and this is my next con that plays into this loot issue, is I hate that items can take up multiple rows, multiple squares, if you will. Like, I'm sorry, a backpack should not take 4 squares. A core or implant should not take 2 squares. A gun at most should just take 4 squares, even if it's a bigger gun. Like, I hate the fact that you could have a blue backpack or higher, and if you loot 3 snipers, your backpack's pretty much full. And that is something, again, to draw comparisons to Arc Raiders, their direct competitor. Arc Raiders does it so much better. Everything, no matter what it is, takes 1 square, 1 space. That's it. Now, I know Marathon is not Arc Raiders. They want to do their own thing. I get that. But there needs to be some give and take here where it just doesn't take up that much space. That alone would solve a lot of the vault issues. That alone would solve a lot of the issues of actually playing the game and extracting with stuff, because that's the whole point, is you go in, you want to get stuff and get out, but you can't even really take that much stuff with you, especially if you don't have a good backpack. And to play into that problem even more, like meds, like shield, health, should not be capped at 3 per stack. It should be at least 5 per stack, like I think Arc Raiders does it. Arc Raiders is 5 per stack. That should be the same for Marathon. It should be 5 per stack, because no reason why, if I'm about to go on a run, my backpack is already half full because I have enough ammo and meds to keep me going throughout that entire run. Because again, going back to what we said previously, ammo and meds is very scarce to come by, so you almost need to bring an abundance with you, which means you're not able to really get that much stuff and extract with because your backpack's already half full of meds and stuff. In my opinion, there needs to be a separate category just for meds that doesn't affect your backpack space at all. Now, you can bring more meds with you, but they'll go in your backpack, but there should be a separate space just for meds, and the cap should not be 3, it should be at least 5. And then the final thing that I have with this vault, and my final con, there needs to be a safe pocket. I'm sorry, I think, and I might be wrong, but I think every other extraction shooter has it. Arc Raiders has one, Tarkov has one. Marathon needs to have a safe pocket. It's ridiculous that it doesn't, because it sucks. If you find something really rare and you want to get out with it, but the QESC bots will destroy you if you don't treat them with enough respect. The time to kill from other players is a little quick, so you're gonna die a lot more often than you would in other extraction shooters, except for maybe like Tarkov. But Tarkov is its own unique beast. Again, to draw a comparison from Arc Raiders didn't really have that problem because the time to kill is a little bit longer, and they have a safe pocket. And I think you need to look at what your competition is doing, especially when your competition is one of the biggest games in the world right now. You need to be looking at what they're doing, studying what they're doing, and copying what they're doing. But that's my overall thoughts on Marathon right now. And I want to leave you with this. Regardless of what I said today, regardless of what others are saying online, if you are someone who doesn't like this game and you've tried it, completely valid. That is your opinion. You have every right to feel that way. If you're someone that is joining these streamers and just saying this game looks like shit, if you're an Arc Raiders player who hates Marathon because it's encroaching on your space, if you're a Destiny player that hates Marathon because you feel like it pulled attention away from Destiny, and you have not tried Marathon yet, please, before you say this game looks like shit, before you completely write this game off and tell people that it's just horrible and it's Roblox with guns, please just give it a try. You have until March 2nd to try it for completely free. And all I ask that you do is give it a try and formulate your own opinion. Don't worry about what others say. Don't worry about what I said. Don't worry about what your favorite streamer is saying. Really look inward and ask yourself, after you've played it, did I like what I played? And if you didn't, completely fine. As for me, I really liked what I played. Even with all the cons I just listed, I'm going to keep playing this game because I genuinely really like it, and it scratches that looter shooter itch. It scratches that Bungie itch I've always had, and I'm really enjoying the game. But that's going to do it for my thoughts and impressions on Marathon Server Slam test. And this is where I want to hear your guys' opinions. Let me know in the comments below. Have you tried it? Have you not? What are you feeling about it? I want to know everything. Do you think the game is shit? Tell me it's shit. I want to know why it's shit. If you think the game is great, tell me why it's great. I want to know everything you guys are feeling. But that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys really liked, I guess, listening and watching the gameplay. Let me know if you want more style videos like this where it's just more low-key, me just kind of rambling on. But anyways, that's going to do it for me, guys. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Later.